Hello students. So today we will learn the two most important international trade theories, the absolute advantage theory and the competitive advantage theory. Myself, Uttaya Basu, assistant professor from Brainerd University. Now, what is absolute advantage? It is a party's ability to produce more goods than a competitor using the same amount of inputs. Now, when suppose there are two countries, like the country one and country two, when country one is producing the same amount of output, which is obviously more than the country B or the country two, by using the same amount of inputs. So we can take the input as anything. So, like for the time being, we are taking the input as the labor. So if one country is producing more output by using the same amount of input with other countries, then obviously the country which is producing the more output has an advantage, both in the market and in the industry. Now, in the international trade scenario, we will take the situation maybe from the point of view of any country, which can be applicable in the more narrow way in any industry or for any firm or any business organization. Now, this is example one. In this example, we can see that there are two parties. The party one means A and party B. Now, in the right hand side, we have a column with the produce of goods and services per hour. Now, clearly, we can see the country A is producing less goods per hour than the country B, which is producing the 7 goods per hour. So we can clearly say that party B has an absolute advantage over A, because they are producing the more goods by using the inputs in per hour. Now, in the second example, we can see that there are two types of goods. This is a very interesting one. The party A is producing 6 units of good 2 per hour, where the country B is producing 2 units of good 2 per hour. But in case of good 1, we have previously seen that country A is producing less good 1 per hour than the country B, which is 7 goods per hour. So in this scenario, the A has an advantage over B in case of the second good, but in case of good 1, B having an advantage or maybe an upper hand than A, because he is producing 3 units more than A. So if we see that if it is an absolute advantage, then we can say that for good 1, B has an absolute advantage, or for good 2, A has an absolute advantage. So, which I have said that for the first good, A is facing an advantage, but for the second good, B is facing another advantage. So it's a 1:1 situation. For good 1, A is facing, A has the upper hand, and for good 2, B has the upper hand in the market. So according to the Adam Smith, that absolute advantage theory means the specialization in production of one commodity and exchanging parts of output with other nation. Now, if we go back to the previous slide, we can see that if A is producing both the goods, means he cannot win in second good scenario, because in that case B has the advantage. But if B is also producing the good 1, then he cannot win the scenario, because A is has the upper hand in case of good 1. So it will be better that A make himself specialized for good 1, and B get specialized in good 2, because otherwise if A is producing both the goods, means he is giving inputs for good 2, but he cannot win the market. So if he gives those labors or those inputs or those efforts in case of good 1, then he will produce more, means he will earn more profit. Same in case of B, that if he continues to produce good 1, he will not get the profit he want, because A is having the upper hand. But if he puts all those inputs, the labors, the efforts in good 2, then where he is obviously having an advantage over A, he will get more profit because he will produce more. So now that is given in this table, that now I'm assuming that A is getting specialized in good 1 and B is getting specialized in good 2. Means for good 2, in case of A, uh, there is all the labor hours are now going for good 1, and for good B, in case of B, that all the means all his good means all his advantages, or means all his inputs is going for good 2. It means that whatever he will produce, that will be considered only for good 2, means he's getting specialized for good 2. So now if A is giving is all the efforts for good 1, then his production will be double, means he was producing 6 units of good 1 per hour. Now he will produce also the 6 plus 6, means the 12 units of good 1 per hour. Now in case of B, what will happen, he was producing good 2 7 units per hour, means he will get more 7 units of good 2 per hour. So clearly from this table we can see the A is getting more good 1 produced and B is getting more good 2 produced, because A is putting more focus, the total focus on good 1, and B is getting all his focus in good 2. Now here I mean that if a country or if an organization or a firm, he produces only where he is the best, means there is a possibility that he will earn more because of the specialization theory. Because according to the specialization theory, if somebody is producing only what he is capable of or he is best of, obviously he will earn more profit than the other firms. Now if you ask me that what happen if A need good 2, or what happen if B needs good 1, then obviously he can import, means A can import the good 2 from B, and B can import good 1 from A. Means here the A is having the more opportunity cost in good 2, and B is having the vice versa for the good 1. It's don't need for the A to produce good 2 and having a loss and having lesser profit, because he can give all his efforts in good 1, and he can import the product from good 2 from B, where also B can only produce the good 2, and he can import whatever good 1 he need to make to continue his demand. So now from those tables, those figures, we can see that competitive advantage is an economic term that refers to an economist's ability to produce goods and services at a lower opportunity cost than that of the trade partners. Previously, we can see the same was happening for the party A and the party B. Means where party A is having a lesser opportunity cost than party B, then he will produce only that product because of the lower cost. So that is a competitive advantage. Means a competitive advantage gives a company the ability to sell goods and services at a lower price than its competitors and realize stronger sales margins, means more profit, more revenues. The law of competitive advantage is popularly attributed to English political economist Mr. Ricardo in his book On the Principles of Political Economy and Taxation in 1807. although it is likely that the Ricardo's mentor James Mill originated the analysis. So it was a way beyond means the 1817s, where David Ricardo gave us the theory, uh, the smell of the competitive advantage. So according to this theory, a country should specialize in the production of good or service in which it has low opportunity cost. So these two are the nutshells of the competitive advantage theory. So the very first thing is he should be specialized in whatever he's producing the best in the lower opportunity cost. And it should import commodities which have a higher opportunity cost of production. And same was that I was giving that example of the A, means he is having the lower cost here, so he will produce these. So he is specialized in A specialized in good one, and he will import the good two, where his output is 0, from B, because B is having the specialization in good 2. So it's a crisscross situation. So A will produce 1 and send it to B, and B will produce 2 and send it to A. So now this is another situation where we can see from the figures, it's a kind of profit oriented scenario. You and your neighbors, I'm giving just like examples. There are two parties. Previously it was A and B. Now consider yourself and your neighbor, or maybe your friend or relative. So there are two kind of work here. One is called painting, and one is called handicraft. And the time for painting is 1, and time for handicraft is 1, and for neighbor it's 1.5, and the time for handicraft is 3. And in the upper portion we can see for painting the profit is 400, and for handicraft the profit is a bit lower, means 350. Now, if this situation happens, means where your time per painting and time per handicap is in both cases the 1, but your neighbor has a more time for painting and more time than the handicap, then what will be the situation? Then if painting produced 3 and handicap produced 3, and sharing a 60 work week among you and your neighbor, so your total profit will be 2250. So if I go to the previous one, look at this. Look at this condition. It's 400 and 350. So if it is 3, it will be for you the 2250, and for your neighbor for 2 paintings and 1 handicrafts, it will be 1100, and the total in this produce will be 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 means 9. So this is your profit, and this is your neighbor's profit. Okay, now both in both the cases, both of you are producing the both. You are getting the paintings and the handicrafts, and the neighbor also is getting the paintings and the handicrafts. So it is a situation where nobody is specialized in anything. So both of them are working on both the products or the services. Now, if you and your neighbor went on to be specialized, means you thought that okay, I'm good at painting, so I will do only the painting, and your neighbor thought okay, I have to put lesser stress on the handicap, so I will put the handicap. I'm best at it. So your painting produced is 6 now. This is handicap goes to 0, and your neighbor's handicap goes to 4, and painting goes to 0. Now previously for you, the painting was 3. Now you put 100% handicaps effort in that here, so it will get double, so it will get 6. And your neighbor 100% go to handicap, so it will go to 4. So now look at the profit scenario. Now your profit goes to 2400, and your neighbor's profit goes to 1400. Previously it was 2250 and 1100. So obviously the profit is getting higher, and more importantly, the total units produced goes to 10. Previously it was 9. So this is clearly a situation where you people, means we can say in a broader point of view in an economy, the firms and the organizations are getting the total profit, and obviously the unit producing is more. So that will affect both the GDP as well as the production. Means if the country is producing more, so there will be more consumed, so there will be more consumption for the people, so there will be a good controlled inflation in the economy, as well as a good domestic product. So if yeah, farms are producing more, then there is a possibility that there will be some export, which can also attract the foreign currency. That is also good for the economy. So So that's the main point of this theory. The specialization is always good. So the absolute theory is has a, then the absolute theory, the comparative advantage has an upper hand, where they are indicating that there should be some specialization. It is good for any individual firms or for any organizations, maybe for the country and maybe for the economy. So that's those are the two main important uh, trade theories in international trade. So hope you understood something about those theories. So it will be better for you to read more papers, read more journals, and read more statistically. You will understand more things. So till then, bye bye.